Imagine a world where you, yes, the you who holds firm ethical values and a strong moral compass, could be led to commit acts you'd once considered unthinkable. What if, under the right conditions, you could become the villain in someone else's story? In the Lucifer Effect, psychologist Philip Zimbardo reveals that the thin line between good and evil isn't defined by character but by circumstance and environment, exposing how anyone, including you, can be transformed to do the unthinkable when placed in the wrong situation. The Lucifer Effect, Understanding How Good People Turn Evil by Philip Zimbardo delves into the psychological and environmental factors that can lead ordinary, well-meaning individuals to commit acts of cruelty and evil. Through his analysis, Zimbardo provides a profound exploration of human nature, ethics, and the effects of power, authority, and situational pressures. His book offers an essential guide for understanding human behavior, especially in situations where morality can become distorted or obscured. The central question of the Lucifer Effect. The fundamental question Zimbardo asks is, what conditions can turn good people into perpetrators of evil? His focus is not on bad apples, but rather on the bad barrels, or toxic environments, that can corrupt individuals. The book uses Zimbardo's famous Stanford prison experiment, SP, as a primary case study, in which average college students, placed in the roles of guards and prisoners, displayed shocking levels of cruelty and submission in just a few days. The Stanford Prison Experiment. The Stanford Prison Experiment is central to the Lucifer Effect. Zimbardo's study assigned college students to play the roles of either guards or prisoners in a mock prison environment. Although the experiment was scheduled to last 2 weeks, it was cut short after only 6 days due to the extreme behaviors exhibited by both guards and prisoners. The guards, who had no previous inclination toward cruelty, began to abuse their authority, engaging in psychological torture and dehumanization of the prisoners. Meanwhile, the prisoners became submissive, showing signs of severe emotional distress. Zimbardo himself, acting as the prison superintendent, found himself gradually slipping into his role, displaying leniency toward the guards' actions. Zimbardo's analysis highlights how ordinary people, when placed in certain situations, may act in ways that align more with their assigned roles than their actual personalities. This speaks to the power of authority and context in influencing behavior. He suggests that systemic structures often promote and perpetuate cruelty by granting power without accountability, as was evident in the experiment. Situational and systemic influences. One of Zimbardo's main arguments is that human behavior is far more influenced by external conditions than we may like to believe. He discusses the situational and systemic factors that contribute to immoral behavior, dehumanization and anonymity. When individuals are depersonalized or treated as mere objects or numbers, it becomes easier to harm them. Zimbardo highlights how masks, uniforms, or even labels like guard and prisoner create psychological distance and dehumanize the other, making cruelty easier to justify. Obedience to authority. Zimbardo connects his findings with Stanley Milgram's obedience experiments, which showed that people often follow orders from authority figures even when these orders go against their personal morals. He argues that social hierarchies play a crucial role in enabling people to set aside their values and comply with authority figures. Conformity and group pressure. Social dynamics within groups create powerful pressures to conform, which can lead individuals to act in ways they would never consider alone. Zimbardo shows how in-group loyalty and a desire to fit in often lead individuals to ignore or even support behaviors that conflict with their ethics. Environmental and systemic structures. Zimbardo highlights how certain environments, prisons, military organizations, or other hierarchical institutions, have built-in structures that encourage obedience, loyalty, and conformity. These systemic features can create bad barrels that corrupt individuals over time. Case studies and real-world atrocities. Zimbardo connects the lessons from the SP to larger historical and social events where similar dynamics have played out, such as in Nazi Germany, the Rwandan genocide, and notably, the abuses at Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq. The prisoners at Abu Ghraib were subjected to severe mistreatment and torture by American soldiers, which echoed the behaviors seen in the SP. Zimbardo points out that these soldiers were subjected to enormous pressure, dehumanizing conditions, and an environment that encouraged obedience to authority without accountability, creating a recipe for the type of moral disengagement that leads to atrocity. The path to moral disengagement. Moral disengagement, according to Zimbardo, is a gradual process through which individuals or groups shift away from personal responsibility, often in subtle ways. Displacement of responsibility. Individuals may attribute their actions to orders from superiors, distancing themselves from personal accountability. Diffusion of responsibility. In group situations, individuals often feel that responsibility is shared and therefore, that their personal accountability is reduced. Disregard for harmful consequences. By shifting focus from the effects of their actions, individuals can more easily engage in behaviors they might otherwise find disturbing. Dehumanization of victims. When individuals or groups are portrayed as less than human, it becomes easier to justify cruelty against them. This framework of moral disengagement explains how people can turn off their empathy and moral concerns in order to follow orders, fit in, or uphold the goals of a system. Lessons for prevention and accountability. Zimbardo concludes the Lucifer Effect by emphasizing the importance of creating systems that foster accountability, empathy, and awareness. He advocates for environments that encourage questioning authority rather than blind obedience, and suggests that cultivating empathy and personal responsibility can counteract the dehumanizing effects of certain power dynamics. To prevent abuses, Zimbardo stresses the need for systemic changes within institutions. Accountability structures, ethical training, and an emphasis on the humanity of all individuals are key factors in resisting the pull toward harmful behavior. Additionally, he highlights the need for strong leaders who prioritize ethical considerations and encourage questioning rather than conformity. Becoming heroes. An inspiring part of Zimbardo's work is his emphasis on the potential for everyday heroism. He argues that just as environments can lead people to commit evil acts, they can also inspire acts of great courage and compassion. He introduces the concept of heroic imagination, where individuals are encouraged to view themselves as capable of heroic actions, even in small everyday interactions. This mindset shifts the focus from passively following authority to actively challenging injustices when they arise. Zimbardo believes that heroism can be taught, just as people can be conditioned to dehumanize others. By developing what he calls situational awareness and fostering empathy, people can be better equipped to resist negative influences and become proactive agents of change. He argues that building strong, ethically oriented institutions and promoting values of empathy and personal responsibility are vital to countering the forces that can lead to destructive behavior. An urgent call for ethical awareness. The Lucifer Effect is more than a psychological exploration, it's a profound reminder of human vulnerability to situational forces. Zimbardo's work teaches that while human nature has the potential for cruelty, it also holds immense potential for kindness, compassion, and resilience. By understanding the factors that can lead to moral disengagement, society can better safeguard against it. Zimbardo's insights challenge us to remain vigilant in our own lives, to question authority and conformity, and to cultivate empathy and moral responsibility. As a gifted teacher, Zimbardo doesn't just expose the darkness, he empowers readers to bring forth light, advocating for a future where people act with courage, empathy, and ethical awareness in the face of difficult circumstances. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our channel for more content like this.